First things first, originally this upload was going to be the start of another what if, but I got a little bit of writer's block at the minute, and figured, well, I know where this story was headed already. And also, before we begin, a small explanation from something I noticed in the comments in the last video. Gohan still had his tail, so he could have turned grade 8, though Gohan only ever transformed after being told to look at the ball Vegeta created, whereas here, he never got told to do that. However, he could have. And had he done that, I don't actually see the story changing that much. In fact, it probably would have caused Yamcha to fight Gohan's grade 8 form after dealing with Vegeta, since in his Kaioken times 3 state, his power level would still be higher than Gohan's grade 8 form. Gohan's grade 8 form would put him just under 15k, but Yamcha in times 3 had him just under 20k, so he would have been able to settle that situation solo. Ironically, Yamcha isn't even my favorite character. This was literally just happenstance because I genuinely believe that Raditz would kill Yamcha for being cocky and arrogant. You know, kind of the way Yamcha was at the start of Z, but that's all I wanted to say there. So when we left off, we had Gohan traumatized by losing his mother and his respected teacher Piccolo, and the others having lost their basically lifelong allies at the hands of Vegeta, and actually by Vegeta's hands this time, as the Earthling warriors were actually able to beat Nappa before Goku and Yamcha could even arrive. Though at the end of the fight, Goku still lets Vegeta leave, and only mentioned it in a brief way on purpose, because that will have some pretty large ramifications going into the Namek saga. But before we dive on into this part, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with bell notifications on to stay up to date with my what ifs. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. After the prospect of Namek was sparked in everyone's minds, Bulma was quick at work to try and reverse engineer Nappa's ship like canon, and it goes bad as well, forcing them to find and prepare Kami's old ship. But there is one more tidbit to Bulma's work here. She is also able to repair Ada, since he was only cut in half and is an android, mostly robotic, like Android 16, so I don't see why he couldn't simply be repaired. So Ada is back, and ready to head to Namek to revive his friends. But while that is happening, Goku is having a rather tough time trying to keep Gohan calm. Gohan is mad that Goku let Vegeta go, for what I think is obvious reasons, but Goku is certain that now Vegeta doesn't have his tail, that he isn't that much of a threat anymore. And Goku can't really explain to Gohan well enough for his reasons for letting Vegeta live, so Gohan here is having a bit more of a rebellious streak. Goku, seeing this to be a potential issue, has Gohan stay on Earth with him, meaning the team going on the first ship is Bulma, Yamcha, Krillin, Chi-Chi, Amon, and Ada. Also a side note, due to how much closer to death Goku was in the last part compared to the canon, I'd say he'd have a slightly higher boost to his Zenkai. Though I won't make it drastic, not yet anyway, because I know this next arc has some pretty insane Zenkai boosts. Vegeta would still be heading to Namek as well, since in his grade 8 form from the last part he killed Piccolo, and he would have been able to see and hear their reactions. And from that he'd still be able to figure out the link to planet Namek, like he does in canon. And so, Bulma is then able to learn enough Namekian to get the ship moving to its goal, Namek. And since this ship was not built with a gravity chamber, or that much room for that matter, Yamcha, Krillin, Chi-Chi, and Amon image train like Gohan and Krillin do in canon, and since it's image training, their gains wouldn't be very high after those 2 months of travel, but still more noticeable than in canon. But given they were only really able to image train, Yamcha wouldn't be able to teach them the Kaioken. I would say that this Yamcha would have a vested interest in having the others learn the technique. From his perspective, without it, they would have a much more rough time with Vegeta. And since he was able to learn the move, he's certain his friends would also be able to learn it as well, since before Kaioken's training, Yamcha was like 4th or 5th strongest. That aside, the Z Warriors then arrive on Namek. Yamcha and Krillin then notice Vegeta's arrival. Yamcha also realizing that Vegeta's strength has grown beyond his full power, that being caused by Vegeta's Zenkai. Then the 2 Frieza soldiers appear, and shot one blast at the ship and one at Ada, who brings up his ki shield and blocks the attack easily. Chi-Chi, furious that the ship got damaged, rushes in at the 2 soldiers, but is backed up by Yamcha, and with his help, they are able to take him down cleanly. Yamcha taking the moment to boast, only to be yelled at Bulma. Remember, they're still together here, leaving Krillin and Chi-Chi laughing about their relationship issues, making Amon a little confused because he's still 5 and didn't get the joke. But he laughs too because his parents are. While they're doing this, Ada looks over the ship and tells the others it's definitely beyond repair. The next course of action is finding a base camp, which I think they will still find the same cave like in canon. Also even hurrying over to the spot after sensing some very high power levels, very evil ones too. This also leading to Bulma sending a message back to Earth, where meanwhile during those 2 months Gohan was training, though in solitude due to Goku still being hospitalized. But after Bulma's message, Goku gets his senzu bean and brings Gohan along to Capsule Corp to start their own journey. And obviously we will still get the gravity chamber in their ship, so they begin their own training. but we'll likely cover more of that in the next part. So back on Namek, the Z Warriors have to come up with a plan, but before they could even put much thought into that, they feel Ki dropping to 0 in the distance. This being Frieza, Dodoria and Zarbon, and some Frieza soldiers attacking a nearby village. So telling Bulma to remain hidden, and leaving Amon with her to protect her, Krillin, Chi-Chi, Yamcha and Ada go out to see what's happening, only to arrive to see Frieza and his men extorting a Dragon Ball out of an elder Namekian's hands, and even witnessing Dodoria kills the Namekian warriors who tried to defend their elder, and even witnessed Cargo's demise. That was the breaking point in the original series for Gohan. Here though, it's Chi-Chi and Ada who are furious. They both dive in using a combined attack to knock Dodoria away, before picking up the terrified Dende. But before Dodoria could retaliate, he's knocked way further away by Yamcha, who went into Kaioken ×3 for a single instant to try and not tip off their scouters, which is successful. After that, the Z Warriors flee with Dende in tow, and Dodoria, like Kanon, is tasked with killing them. Not long before Dodoria is able to start catching up to them. Ada, being the one holding Dende, flies as fast as he can back to Amon and Bulma. Unlike Kanon, Krillin, Yamcha and Chi-Chi are actually planning on fighting. Yamcha thinking that they're far enough away to not tip off any scouters Frieza or his soldiers may have. Little does he know that the elder from earlier, Mori, I believe his name was, but I forget. There's a lot of names to remember. But Mori had actually already destroyed the scouters, so he had nothing really to worry about to begin with. Well, that he's aware of. Remember, Vegeta learned to sense Ki after his time on Earth, and he feels this showdown about to happen. And he sees an opportunity, and flies up to Dodoria. Yamcha jumps into Kaioken ×3 again. However, he is aware that Dodoria's current strength is still above his, and he calls back to Krillin and Chi-Chi for them to play a more support role in this fight. Krillin, understanding, throws a Kienzan at him, and when Dodoria dodges easily and mocks Krillin, Krillin hits him with a solar flare, giving Yamcha the time to hit him with a Wolfang fist, and finishing it out with a Kamehameha. Though proving to be pretty resilient, Dodoria, while a little injured, is just as ready to inflict the same pain, and even knocks Krillin out cold. Chi-Chi frantic hits Dodoria with a solar flare, which catches him off guard, but before he could recover from his blindness, Vegeta appears punching a hole through Dodoria's back, to both the horror and confusion to Yamcha and Chi-Chi. This leading to a very shaky truce. Having been confronted with Vegeta much earlier on, and knowing he isn't on the same side as those people who murdered almost that entire village, keeping in mind that this Vegeta hasn't yet slaughtered any Namekians, except for, well, Piccolo and by extension Kami, but still not any Namekians on the planet, that's what I meant. Though I will say, the Earthlings here do hold Vegeta in contempt, but they're all smart enough to realize without his help, their hopes of reviving their friends is hopeless. Ironic given that Vegeta was also the one to take their lives. Vegeta here is basically intending to use the Earthlings kind of like meat shields fighting against Frieza and his forces. The situation is literally the enemy of my enemy is my frenemy kind of deal. After this, the Z Warriors plus their frenemy Vegeta collect the Dragon Ball from the village that Vegeta originally destroys. This time, however, he spares them due to the concerns of Yamcha, Krillin, Chi-Chi and Ada. While flying back to their hideout, Vegeta has a moment to question Ada, as he was sure Ada was one of the people he killed. Ada actually tells Vegeta outright that he's an android, so he was just put back together. Vegeta finding this to be somewhat valuable information. So once back at the hideout, they all realize that now they have a Dragon Ball, Frieza won't be able to make his wish. However, on Bulma's radar, she notices that there's still one more Dragon Ball on its own. So the warriors head out again. This time Amon goes too, showing a bit of his own rebellious side. After learning what happened, Amon hated not being able to help. Bulma lets him go because they hadn't met any trouble yet. However, Zarbon is still searching for Vegeta, and Vegeta is able to pick up his ki while heading towards the last Dragon Ball, and sees an opportunity, like what he had with Dodoria, and tells the Z Warriors to go get the ball while he goes and handles something, saying he'll be back shortly. This has the Z Warriors heading towards Guru's as Vegeta goes and faces off with Zarbon. In here I think Vegeta was actually closer to Zarbon than the others were to Guru's, so we'll handle that fight first. Zarbon, as I mentioned earlier, was tasked with finding Vegeta as Frieza suspected him of killing Qui and Dodoria. Qui this time being exploded off screen. Vegeta then appears right in front of Zarbon as Zarbon was looking for him. And the conversation would likely still go basically the same, just without Krillin and Bulma being a part of that conversation at all. So as a result of this, the Z Warriors' original hideout spot is still not known to the Frieza force. Zarbon and Vegeta then quit the small talk and start the fight. Zarbon, after a moment of back and forth, is noticing that he's being overwhelmed by Vegeta and is forced to transform, still giving Vegeta the information about Frieza's transformation ability. Though like canon, Vegeta only believes Frieza to have one transformation at this point. And after Zarbon has finished his transformation, he's able to beat Vegeta, and then take him back to Frieza's ship, to go and put him into the healing tank, so that they can question Vegeta about the village that they had been to, who claimed that they had no Dragon Ball and had already given it away. Frieza mistakenly believes Vegeta has hidden the Dragon Ball somewhere, much like he thinks originally, though as we all know, it's a bit different this time around. Also, I will state it did take Frieza a lot longer to find that village without any scouters, but with these forces scouring the globe trying to find villages, it really is only a matter of time before they found that village that the Zeroes went to with Vegeta. And those villagers could have sold Vegeta out, but I say in this what if they actually don't, due to the Z-Warriors' presence. They thought that Vegeta was actually an ally to them, rather than what he absolutely is to them. A threat, considering in canon he does slaughter everyone there. But with Vegeta recovering in the healing pod, back at Guru's, Amon, Ida, Chi-Chi, Krillin, and Yamcha notice Vegeta's ki drop significantly. His defeat at the hands of Zarbon. This to them comes as a bit of a relief, but also gives them a bit of dread, since Yamcha earlier noted himself that he didn't think he could beat Vegeta anymore. So sensing his defeat does worry them. However, Ada is able to point out that Vegeta is on the move somehow. Using his power scanner, he's able to more accurately pinpoint Vegeta's location, and also knows that Zarbon's power grew well beyond Vegeta's in their fight, theorizing as an ability similar to the Kaioken. All this conversation happening while Nail, Dende, and Guru listen in. And after reading their minds and intentions, Guru tries to unlock all their potentials. I say tries because Ada refuses, saying it's pointless for Guru to try, as Ada is a robotic android and doesn't think he has the conventional potential, so to speak. So everyone else has their powers unlocked, and I'll cover the power-ups from that in the next part. But that's all I really got time for today. I hope you guys did enjoy this part, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button, and subscribe with bell notifications on to stay up to date with my what ifs. But with that out of the way, I've been the Dragon Ball What If Bro, and I will see you guys next time.